Welcome to the 5th Annual World Peace Telesummit. My name is Barry Bettman, Professional Certified Coach. For the next hour, I will be helping on this call go smoothly. Just a way of getting prepared for the call, please use your earbuds and your headset. Turn off any speakerphones. If you have any difficulty hearing along the way, just disconnect from Zoom and reconnect back in. Now it's my pleasure to introduce Dr. Elaine Christine, the host of the World Peace Telesummit. As the author of the Peace Processing Trilogy, Elaine Christine has a mission to bring peace to every mind. She earned a PhD in computer science from the Florida Institute of Technology. Dedicated to uplifting humanity to the new peace consciousness, she trains, certifies, and mentors peacemakers online. Joining us from Merritt Island, Florida, please welcome Dr. Christine.
Thank you, Barry. I am delighted to facilitate the peace process on the 5th Annual World Peace Telesummit. We are gathered to celebrate the International Day of Peace and to strengthen the ideals of peace among people. All participants on this call are making a difference through education and awareness of the 6-step peace process. Barry, can we take a poll to find out the gender of the folks on our call?
Sure. So those that are on the computer, we can do the poll. So I'll bring up the poll now and go ahead and specify your polling. And while we're doing that, do you want to say a little bit more, Elaine?
Yes, I do. And I'm actually getting into my Word app to see what it is that I had wanted to say. Oh, I know. I wanted to talk about the peace process. And that's because there are some people on the call that might not really know what that's all about. So this is just kind of the backstory, about how the peace process came to be. The 6-step peace process was inspired in 1998 after I attended a spiritual conference in Miami. Everyone seemed to want world peace, but nobody had a plan. I had an idea to run the thought of world peace on the 6-discipline model recently published in my textbook, Managing Risk. Developed with my husband, Tom Gorsuch, the 6-discipline model is a simple process model of the mind that can run any thought. I wrote a piece at the top and changed the generic process to a specific thought of peace and love. Later, I realized the process for world peace was the same as inner peace. The model scales perfectly from universal to personal. Okay, Barry, do we have the results of the gender poll?
Yeah, those that voted, which did the poll, it's split. It's exactly half male and half female today.
Woohoo! And that might be because we're just coming up on the equinox tomorrow, the autumn equinox. Well, thank you, Barry. Now let's go through the 6-step peace process, which is color-coded to the rainbow. I'll be asking the questions as we go together, step by step, on our journey to world peace. When you raise your hand to answer, Barry will call on you and unmute your microphone. We begin with the Discover discipline and the color red. Step 1, discover the problem. The first question is, why don't we have world peace? So who wants to weigh in on that question?
Great. So if you're on the computer, just press raise hand. If you're on the telephone, I believe it's star 9. I'm going to look it up right now. Anybody on the phone or on the computer like to weigh in? Just raise your hand.
Well, Barry, since they're driving, maybe we could just call on them anyway, and then unmute them and call on them and see if they have something to share.
Yeah, we'll be gutsy here. Let's start with Tom. Hey, Tom, you want to come off your mic and tell us why we don't have world peace? Okay, Tom might be doing something else. Jerry, how about you?
Why don't we have world peace? Because I think we've learned the habits of violence and self-preservation through millennia of survival-oriented living. The world is a tough place. Most people in the world today don't remember their history lessons from school about all the brutal wars and brutal conflicts between the civilizations that took place for the last 5 millennia. I think we've been conditioned through our structures, military, economic, religious, scientific, any kind of institutional structure is based on the organization that was in place well before Samaria. It was authoritarian and hierarchical, and for the most part, it was patriarchal. It was controlled by militaries that controlled territories and resources. They built their power based on exploitation, consumption, and waste. That's why we have so much waste in the world. Now, why don't we have world peace? Because we haven't unlearned those lessons. We still inherently teach those lessons in our school. We teach those lessons in business. It's a dog-eat-dog world. What's in it for me? How can I benefit? Blah, 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 blah. We're not living in the world of the we yet. We're living in the world of the I. And I think as long as we're living in the world of the I, world peace is impossible, because it can only take place in a world where we're all conscious of interbeing and interdependence, where we acknowledge that we're all in this together and that we all thrive or we all become extinct. That's the choice. That's the choice. It's either peace or it's annihilation. I don't think there's a whole lot of gray in between. That's my explanation of why we don't have world peace, because it's darn tough to undo all that conditioning.
Thank you, Jerry. I just want to say something that came across my Facebook page today I thought was really interesting. It was that the difference between the word illness and wellness is either I or we.
Oh, wow.
Is that powerful? And just in time to share that on the World Peace Telesummit. So thank you, Jerry. Anybody else want to weigh in? How about Tracy?
Yeah, let's go to Tracy. Hi, Tracy.
Hi, how's everybody doing? Am I unmuted?
Great to have. Yeah, you're good. Great to have you today.
Okay. Why is there not world peace? Well, I think it's as complicated as Jerry was saying, plain and simple. However, I think in order to get to the we, where we're all one consciousness, we're all one in this whole game of life, I think world peace will come about when individuals find inner peace. When you yourself find inner peace within yourself, then we can unite subconsciously and unite globally to create world peace. But it all starts within yourself. That's my thoughts on that. Go ahead, Jerry.
Thanks, Tracy.
Sure. I can't hear Jerry.
How about Terry?
Jerry.
I think Jerry had something.
Oh, hold a second. Did you want Jerry? Elaine, do you want Jerry or Terry?
I said Terry.
Okay, we're going to go to Terry next. Hi, Terry.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect.
Okay, good. You still can't see me, but you can hear me. And the weird thing about that little dot is there is a sun behind me, so I'm not quite sure anyway. But I thought it was interesting, Christine, you started by saying to discover the problem, and it's red today, and my aura here is red. How interesting, huh?
Yeah.
But yeah, you know, before Jerry started talking, I was thinking I versus we. and listening to Tracy, how do we sort of get out of that? Situations like 9/11 came to mind, and the Bahamas now, what's going on down there, and, all these rescue organizations, which I'm involved in. It really is a matter of we have to stop thinking of ourselves as an entity separate of everything. I mean, we're part of everything. And it takes crisis like that to pull us. We know how to do this. We are peaceful by nature. We can be, but this sort of, authoritarian, militant, heritage we have. I mean, obviously we all are on the phone. We believe we can fight this thing, but I'm struck by the Bahamas. I'm just struck by what's happening there, and how my husband is, like so many people, taking supplies over. And he said, it's an emotional, wonderful experience to see people that are so grateful with so little. It's life sustenance. I mean, we got to get back to sort of basic thinking about what's really important in life,
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Terry. How about Tom? Can you hear us now?
Hi, Tom.
Yeah. Hi, can you hear me now?
Welcome, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, it's like I was muted on the other end too. So, yeah, I think that what I see is people have a fear for people that are not like themselves, and that just seems to continually perpetuate. Instead of enjoying diversity, they have a fear of diversity, and so it just happens over and over again in different ways, and that seems to be what drives people to fear. So I think the lack of peace is the opposite of peace is fear, and so that's kind of what I think it comes from.
Thank you, Tom. Let's see. I guess we need to hear from Nicole.
Let's get Nicole's mic open here. Hi, Nicole. See, you're muted on your end. There we go. Hi, Nicole.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you.
Oh, cool. So, yeah, I agree with the whole survival mode. I think that, and somebody else said about the peace, the personal peace that we experience. It starts there. Global peace, world peace begins with us. And the problem is that if people are so much into survival mode and into the I, will I survive? Will my family be taken care of? They don't have the capacity. We collectively do not have the capacity to focus on anyone else because we're so worried about ourselves. And so I think to go from that I to we, and to realize that it's like global, warming, climate change, and I posted something yesterday. Was it yesterday or the day before about it? And I had all these comments back on it. I thought, geez, I didn't realize this was such a controversial subject. How can we talk about whether or not this is an important issue or not? It's kind of like, because why? Because people are so concerned about themselves, unfortunately. And so I think world peace, the reason why we don't have world peace is because people are too much looking at the I, and they're looking at survival, and they don't have peace themselves. So a collective of what was already said here, and what will it take to create peace is, I think, for people to recognize that we're in this together, and that when we work together and we unify, we all win. We all either thrive. I think someone said that. It's like, we either make this work or we don't. And the cost is very high. So it's really important for us to recognize, to set aside our own agendas and our own priorities, and to recognize that the very way that we get what each of us individually desires is to work together.
Well, let's keep Nicole on the line because the next question, Nicole, is envision. And for the envision discipline, you can think of the color orange. So step 2, envision the solution. We use our imagination to do a 180-degree turnaround and envision world peace. So now the question is, what does world peace look like? And I think you were already hot on the trail, so we'll start with you.
So I think world peace looks like everyone working together. I believe that everyone, I mean, what do we all want? We want to love and be loved. We want to have a good life for ourselves and for the people that we care about. And I think that for me, peace is for that to work, is for us to come from that place of abundance where we recognize that there is actually more than enough for all of us to have a great life and to love and honor each other. And I think that when we value peace is when we value each other and we value ourselves equally. It's a place where there's rest. There's rest from struggle. There's rest from strife. There's rest from the competition, that we can put that aside and we start working together. And we find that as we do that, it's actually more fun and more fruitful in the process.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you so much. Hey, Barry, who do you want to call on next?
Go back to Jerry. Hi, Jerry.
Hi, Barry. All righty. I'm unmuted. Cool. I've been reading a book recently that has opened my eyes to a better world. It's by an author called Charles Eisenstein. And the title of the book, it's probably backwards, is...
Oh, I can read it.
Oh, can you really?
Yes. More beautiful, our hearts know it's possible. Yeah.
Right. The more beautiful world our hearts know is possible. What an amazing book. He's the author that I got the term interbeing from, which I find to be a very profound statement about the we. The we isn't just a collection of things all jammed into a box like a bunch of eggs or cookies. It's a cloth, and we're all interwoven with one another on multiple levels and in multiple dimensions. The only thing that keeps us from recognizing that is the lie of separation, which Tom mentioned earlier, is based on fear. We see the other as separate from ourselves because you really have to see them separate from yourself if you are going to treat them with less dignity and respect and honor that they deserve. You have to see them as some kind of other that is either less than yourself or is not worthy of being treated with dignity and respect. And it can go way beyond that into violence and
Okay, but Jerry, the question is, what does world peace look like? So start with that question.
Okay. What world peace looks like is a world where people get past the institutional solutions to finding inner peace and take personal responsibility to finding inner peace within themselves. As has been pointed out, we can't have peace in the world unless majority of us have some degree of self-awareness and peace within ourselves, that we have done all the necessary self-work that uncovers our own feelings of inadequacy, our own feelings of separation, our own fears, misgivings, the places within ourselves where we don't have the kind of self-esteem necessary to take the responsibilities this is demanding of us. That requires a lot of self-work, and it requires time and attention, but it requires doing it in the proper spirit, because if you're just focusing on yourself, then you get back into that recursive loop of making it all about yourself. So it has to be done with others. That's why community, like this community we have here tonight, is so important, because we can talk about our self-work, and we can talk about these ideas as a community, and these can become collective ideas, and this can become a collective self-work that we can all do to strengthen us. And I do believe that the world that I'm envisioning is where that becomes integrated into our daily lives. If our consciousness is raised in such a way that in all of our interactions and all of our transactions with one another, they are imbued with that kind of awareness of interconnectedness. And it gets to be impossible where people could take advantage of each other and exploit each other or discount each other, because that would be contrary to the spirit of this new world of peace in which we live. We will live in. And I believe that is where we're going. But that's what I envision, that interbeing, that love, that respect of the collective.
That's awesome, Jerry. Thank you.
Where do you want to go next? Let's go to Terry. Hi, Terry.
Hi, you know what? That was so amazing. I honestly can't think of anything to add to that. I mean, and I've got to get the name of that book, but that was really it. I mean, you know, if we really kind of boil it down, we are all one, we are interconnected, we are all here together. The idea that we're all such separate entities is so foreign, and just, it's not the reality. And I'm just going back to how the heck do we do this? I mean, I'm the first time here, so I'm going, this is powerful stuff. And I know it can start with one simple, like a seed. I mean, the attitudes, the impressions, the information, the good information you're talking about. But it seems daunting to me when I think of, really the question of how. It's like, my gosh, how? I mean, I'm at a loss. I think those were good thoughts, but sort of, what do I do differently today? I'm going, what do I do differently today? Powerful stuff.
Thank you, Terry.
Okay, Ruth. Do you want to move on to the next question or the next step, Elaine?
No, I'd like to hear from Tom and Nicole.
I thought we heard from Nicole already. Am I mistaken?
Oh, we did. So maybe
All
Tom.
right, Tracy. Let's hear from Tracy.
Well, I really can't think of much more to say. Nicole and Jerry really wrapped it up, and the vision of everything that they said is spot on, and I can't add to that. I don't know what else to add to that. It's just they just put it in a nutshell, the two of them, but it was very vast but pretty simple. So I can't think of anything else to add to that. I do want to ask Jerry, though, the rest of the title, all I got was The More Beautiful World. What was the rest of that title of that book?
The More Beautiful World Our Hearts Know Is Possible. The author's name is Charles Eisenstein. That's Eisenstein. Eisenstein, Charles Eisenstein.
Can you hold the book up again, Jerry?
Be my pleasure. That's the title.
The More Beautiful World Our Hearts Know Possible.
And that's the author's name, Eisenstein. Yes, it's a wonderful book, and I'm not as far through it as I should be, which is good because I'm anxious to get into more of it.
Sure. Thanks for sharing that.
My pleasure.
Thanks. Thank you, Jerry. Thanks, Tracy. And last we'll go to Tom as he's tooling down the road there. Hi, Tom.
All right. Yeah, just where people love one another as they would love themselves. So, and if that happened universally, we would have world peace. And I think it's been well said already on the call. So.
All right. So back to the golden rule, right?
Right.
Okay. Now let's see. We have the color yellow for plan. This is step 3. We're going to plan for peace. And we're going to ask the question, what could you do to bring peace. So,
Okay, so let's go. Okay, let's go to Nicole. Hi, Nicole.
Hey there. What can I do? Well, I actually have a community that I'm building. It's called the Leaders of Transformation. I have a podcast, and the fundamental principle that that we're speaking to is unity. And the people that I have on my podcast, I do my best to be intentional about not that everyone believes the same things, but that what is common to all of them is that they're coming from that place of love and honor of each other, that they can respect differences and recognize that we don't all have to be the same. Unity is not sameness. And we're all wonderfully diverse. But we can agree on there's certain things that we can agree on together, and so that's one of the things I'm doing is to bring that message out further to the world. I also have doing a series in the new year called How to Start a Movement, and bringing some amazing guests on, and I'm excited about that. That will speak to what is it really going to take to bring unity in the world, which unity leading to peace. And you know, the other thing is that I do is that I do my best to embody peace. Like it was said earlier, you know, it starts with us. And so when I go different places, I bring that peace with me, and I teach other people how much more fun life is when you stay in that place of peace. And I teach that to my clients. I'm a business advisor, so I teach that also to my clients. How can they partner with peace? And as I used with one of my clients, I came up with this one day. She was partnered with fear. I could feel it. I could hear it. And I said, what if you were to, maybe it's time to just break up with fear and partner with peace. And that's changed her life. And I started to share it with other people how to do that, and invite, just like any other relationship, is to sort of invite it in. And when you feel that it's dissipating, invite it back in. And so I've been doing that. Yeah, those are some of the ways. I'm sure there's lots of other ways I could do it, but those are some of the ways that I'm doing it.
great. Thank you, Nicole.
Thank you.
Go to Tracy next. Hi, Tracy.
Well, I agree with what Nicole said. It definitely starts, it has to start, it's like throwing a pebble in a pond. It's a ripple effect. So if you start with yourself and you learn to overcome fear, and you learn to love yourself, and you find inner peace, then you can bring that, whether you use words or not, you can bring that wherever you go. You can shine your light wherever you go, and help wherever it needs to be helped. And it's a ripple effect. So if you can find it yourself and you can share it with others in whatever shape that is for you, then I think we can ripple it out and hopefully cover the globe at some point, and wish it upon, and visualize and pray about it encompassing other people's hearts. So I definitely think that it starts with your own heart and your own consciousness and your own well-being, that you find inner peace so that you can do whatever you think it is necessary to help others to find that. And then it just gets larger and larger and larger.
Mm-hmm.
The ripple effect.
I love it.
Thanks, Tracy. We're going to go next to Terry. Hi, Terry.
You know, I also work, I think as Nicole works in the business world, I do too, actually, healthcare management. And we are forever measuring metrics. Most of them are, you know, financial, and or in healthcare, we manage clinical metrics and things like that. And kind of back to question two, you know, how do we do this? And I'm sitting here shaking my hands going, how do you do this? thinking back to what Nicole said about, you know, having an impact. I mean, you're leading people, you're in continuous conversation with people. You can start right there in that moment and, you know, sort of lead by example. Like Tracy was saying, you know, it starts with you. If I manage differently, if I'm communicating differently, if I take, you know, look at a different kind of metric system, maybe that we say, you know, patients are getting better. Why? Is it truly because we're doing, you know, X, Y, and Z? You know, what are some other ways of looking at? And I like the whole, you know, lead by example mentality, you know, that one by one ripple effect. I think Tracy said just one by one, you know, taking every conversation as an opportunity to make a change. You know, I think that could, you know, possibly is a way to kind of start and spread. You know, you have an opportunity when you're working with people, and I do have that opportunity. So I'm just, my brain's kind of thinking, how would I do that? How would the script change? You know, what would I say as a result of some of this conversation differently?
Such a powerful comment about how would the script change. Thanks,
Yeah.
Jerry. Yeah. Do you have more on that?
No, thank you. That's good.
Thank you, Terry.
Okay. I think I might have lost my control panel. I'm not sure where I'm at. So hang on one second.
Okay.
Yeah. So I did lose it. Can you unmute some of the other people there, Elaine?
I certainly can. I certainly can. I'm not sure who wants to go next. How about, let's see, how about Tom? We'll unmute you. Tom unmuted. Hey, Tom.
Hey, so
What's your plan?
yeah, to first to be at peace with yourself, and it's already been said very well. Be at peace with yourself. The people you come in contact with will sense that peace. If you treat them the way they deserve to be treated, then they leave with more peace, and you just affect people over and over again. And just listening to you all talk, it's the same thing. It's the things that you're doing, and the like the examples that Nicole gave of what she's doing. How by being at peace and understanding that and transferring that to other people around you, it's just, that's what we can do. That's what I hope to do on a daily basis.
Thank you, Tom. That's awesome. And let's see, we have not heard from Jerry. Jerry, you're unmuted.
Okay. What is my peace plan? Well, I think it's more like peace plans, plural. We certainly have to start with our own personal work, as I said earlier, so that we become more peaceful ourselves. With this idea of radiating peace out into the world from our own calm, peaceful center to making a difference in the world by engaging causes and organizations and worthy organizations who are out there doing the legwork. For instance, the people that receive the canned goods and so forth from Thursday night's meeting. Those people out there, the Samaritan people and so forth, supporting them, to me, is one of the peace plans. And there are multiple peace plans. As you become more tuned to your own inner peace, I think you are instinctively drawn to those situations where you can make the most difference with your love and your energy and your personal abundance. So I think it's making your personal abundance as part of this contract for peace, this partnership with peace. It should be part of your abundance and your willingness to share your abundance in the spirit of peace and the spirit of lifting people up and engaging the world that calm, peaceful center. I think it all has to do with intention. And if you, whatever you do, if you're doing it with the proper intention, I think your peaceful energy somehow is attached to it and lifts it up and gets added to the peaceful energy of everybody else in the group that is trying to make this good thing happen. So it's not one peace plan, it's multiple peace plans, and we just have to be led by spirit as to regarding which ones we're going to support.
Thank you, Jerry. That's awesome. Now, I'm not sure, Barry, have you got your control back?
Any moment now, so please continue. Are we on step
Okay,
4?
well, okay, so what we're going to do now is the work, and the work is green. It's step 4. And what we're going to do here is actually go into a meditation so that we send love to what's taking our peace. And I am going to have everyone just kind of center themselves. And as I review what we have just gone through, I want you to be opening your heart and shining it like a flashlight into the world. Shine your light of peace and try to feel it in your heart, all right? So here we go. This is step 4, working for peace, and it is sending your love. That's what the work is, all right? So here we go. As we begin to discover why we don't have world peace, it's the difference between illness and wellness. We are worried about ourselves. There is this fear-based mentality that's the opposite of peace. There's people who are not liking that there's differences. That there's self-preservation and survival mode of living, as Jerry said. Sometimes that comes down to brutal conflict, like the bombings we had at Easter time, right, in Sri Lanka, and that the essentially conditioned through institutions through the years, kind of a patriarchal, hierarchical structure that's been power-based. And what we need to learn is new lessons in schools and business, and to envision now when individuals do find their inner peace, that we truly are at the most basic level peaceful by nature. So we want to be a thankful and grateful people and tap into what's really important and to enjoy the diversity. Look at all the different animals that God has created and all the different kinds of people. So we're all in this together. And as Nicole said, you know, envisioning everyone working together and having a better life for that, it's way more fun. And we can come from a place of abundance. It just totally makes sense to love and honor each other, as Nicole had said. So resting from struggle and strife and competition, we have a better future. And as Jerry said, sharing that book, The Better World Our Hearts Know Is Possible book, I'm sure you can Google that on Amazon and find it. But people get past this institutional thinking and take personal responsibility. So this is our own self-work, as he said, to uncover our fears and to move forward, raise consciousness and awareness. Love, respect. That's the drill, right? Rinse and repeat, love and respect, right, Jerry? Okay, so as Terry said, we're all one, we're all connected. So it just starts like that little mustard seed. And how we're going to do it differently, we are going to do the 6-step peace process. So we can use this method to go through our own fears as well as the fears of our family members if they need help, and work together. Basically, as Tom boiled it down to, it's the golden rule to love one another as we love ourselves. So here's the plan, everybody. We are leading our own personal transformation, okay? And this is about the unity of seeing ourselves as part of this collective whole and intentionally having respect for the differences. And this will, if we embody peace, it will, spread like the ripple effect, like Tracy said. We're going to visualize and pray for peace. We know that visualization is really important, and that's what you're doing now by sending your love, just sending it out, bigger, wider, encompassing more people. Our neighbors are not just the people next door. They're in the Bahamas, and they're in Hawaii, and they're all over the globe. And as Terry said, we can definitely have an impact, and every conversation is an opportunity to make a change. So with that, I will just end with Jerry's comment about sharing the abundance in the spirit of lifting people up, and do it with a peaceful energy. So that's my meditation for you today, just a review, a reflection of what you've already said. That's been so wonderful, that we really are right now at the point where we're going to come out of our meditation and measure. So this is step 5. And I love measure because we're actually going to do it as a poll. So this color is blue. We measure with honesty. How much love did you send from your heart? And Barry, can you start this poll so we can find out how much love the participants sent? Barry is muted. Unmute.
There you go. Can you make me a co-host again?
Yes, I can. Yes,
and then I can do that.
Okay. You are officially, once I say yes, you are officially.
Okay, now I can start this. Okay, so we're going to do a poll, and then we're going to measure the poll. So your choices are: how much love did you send? Your choices are not love, no love at all, some love, my heart is half full of love, lots of love, or all my love. So I'm going to launch it now, and those that are on the computer can fill it out, and we'll begin now.
So Barry, how do the ones that are on their phones driving, how do they weigh in?
They cannot do the direct poll, but they can tell us verbally when we open their mic.
Okay.
So right now, 3 out of 5 people have voted. Maybe a couple are on their phones, and
I'm going to unmute Nicole so that she can weigh in.
Okay.
What would you say?
So, what were they?
One is no love at all. 2, love. 3 is my heart is half full. 4 is lots of love, and 5 is all the love in my heart.
All the love in my heart.
Okay.
I think that's a subjective thing too, right? It's like all the love in my heart that I have, and I hope that it continues to be more. That I continue to have more to give.
We'll set that intention. Thank you, Nicole. All right, Tom is unmuted. Tom, what would you say?
The same. All the love in my heart.
Okay, thank you.
So the results are 60% is lots of love, and 40% is all the love in my heart. So both of those are at the top end of the scale.
Okay, that's awesome. So we got everybody voted. Great.
Yeah.
All right. So let's see. Now what we need to do, since we've got the poll, is we go to the final step, which is indigo. This is our like our third eye. The color indigo is the value discipline. Step 6, we value the progress. So tell us, what was your takeaway from this call? And Barry, I'll let you figure out who to unmic.
Okay. Let's start with Jerry. Let's get Jerry on the system here. Hey, Jerry, what's your takeaway from tonight?
My takeaway is that I'm just reassured once again that there's a lot of really great people out in the world, that there are many, many, many people on the path who are really invested in inner peace and spreading that inner peace in the world. I wish that the participants in this conversation could get together and in face-to-face meetings. I think quite often they enable us to exchange that wonderful energy that is kind of implied through these electronic meetings, but you actually can physically feel it and mentally and emotionally feel it when you're in the presence of other people who are radiating the love. I believe that is the purpose behind bringing people together in the first place, is to multiply their love. So my takeaway is, wow, I'm so glad there's so many other really wonderful people out there working towards making this world a better place. And yeah, let's all get together and have a love-in.
Sounds like a retreat at my place.
Yes, very much so. Hint, hint.
Thank you, Jerry. Next we'll go to Nicole. What are you taking away from today, Nicole?
For me, I think that it's reassuring. It's a confirmation, and it's wonderful to hear that so many people from different parts of the world, different parts of the country feel the same way. It's just that confirmation for me that, you know, we're on the right track, and if we can just enroll and invite other people into the conversation about this, then we will achieve the goal. And so it's just really wonderful. I think that's the takeaway, is just to really appreciate everyone's heart and desire to create world peace. And it's just really exciting. So thank you.
Thank you, Nicole.
Thanks, Nicole. Next we'll go to Terry. Hi, Terry.
No, I just, as you guys know, this is sort of the first experience with me. I mean, I know Christine from way back, but I mean, just in being involved in this kind of forum and in this kind of, with this kind of topic and all, it's I feel like the baby on the phone, maybe the toddler on the phone, I'm not sure, but listening to you all I'm walking away with just one powerful word to me, and that is possibilities. I'm just feeling possibilities as a word that's jumping out, and I think it probably just captures everything I'm feeling right now.
Mm. Thank you, Terry.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Terry. Next we'll go to Tracy. What are you taking away tonight, Tracy?
Well, what Terry said, what Nicole said, what Jerry said, all wrapped up. I think it's a very valuable, I'd give it a 10 on a scale of 1 to 10. It's a very, very valuable platform that we just all shared. And all of that wrapped up in one, and my mind just went blank. I had something else to say, but I forgot what it was. But I think it's extremely valuable. And the key word, like I think it was Nicole that just said, the possibility. With God, all things are possible. I think it's a possibility. It's doable. Sometimes people like us all have to shine a little brighter for some of those who don't really have any inner peace, and that's doable. And when we, like Jerry said, collectively, it'd be great to be physically together so that light and that love can grow and shine out to the world. But we can also do it in this platform that we're doing it right now. And I just think thanks everybody for being who you are.
Thank you, Tracy.
Nice, Tracy. Lastly, we'll go to Tom. Let's get Tom on the mic. So, Tom, you're on. What are you taking away from the day?
Yeah, hi everyone. So the value to me, I think, is this like the fifth time we've done this, and I know several of you have been on before, and it's just always encouraging I'm always encouraged, and I do feel like there is a growing grassroots awareness. And there's always discouraging things you see out there in the world, but I don't know. I just feel like there is this grassroots awareness. Stories I'm hearing too, so it's just very encouraging, and I'm grateful to be able to be on the call with y'all.
Thanks, Tom.
Okay, thank you, Tom.
Barry, I want to hear from you.
Well, I think I said this last year, and it's the year later, and it's the same thing. I ran into somebody that talked about the concept called give peace a chance. And I think if we include it in our language patterns and speak about it, I think it's a possibility to come up. We all so often talk about war and anti-war, but we don't hear a lot about peace. So peace, whether it's peace in the world, whether it's peace in our hearts, whether it's peace in our minds, whether it's peace when I'm driving down the road, I think if we give peace a chance, it could show up.
Thank you. Well, I'd like Tracy, go ahead. We need to unmute Tracy. She's got something more to say.
Well, just on that, to follow up with what Barry said, that I think it was Mother Teresa said that she would never attend an anti-war rally, but if you have a peace rally, she'd be the first one there. I think it's, if we focus on, peace and try to get other people to find that inner peace, of course, but to focus more on peace and not on all the negativity and hatred and violence, the possibility that the tipping point will happen and we will tip more towards peace than we are to not peace in the world. Just wanted to throw that out there.
Exactly. Thank you, Tracy. And that brings up a goal that we peacemakers have to train 10,000 people as peacemakers, and the videos are all on YouTube. So this is kind of like preparation for 2020, and we will be rolling that out. But all the peacemaker videos, there's 33, they're all live, public on YouTube, and we built a class around that in the book. And so we'll be enrolling people in that, and maybe start the language translations after that. So that's what we have up for 2020, is that we will have the beginnings of our 10,000 peacemakers. And I do believe that's a tipping point, because those adult volunteers will be encouraged to go into the public school system and help educate the children on this 6-step peace process. And let's see, we have another hand waving. And let's see, who is that waving their hand? Jerry wants to say something.
I would just like to say that Dennis Kucinich, now quite a number of years ago, proposed a Department of Peace. I think he had a wonderful idea. Of course, no one in the militant government that we have right now could even consider that, because that doesn't sell weapons of war to all the nations of the world. But I do believe that this idea of a Department of Peace should be embraced. I think it should also be our mission, not just to have 10,000 peacemakers, but to establish in the institutional world, which isn't going away anytime soon, a Department of Peace, and make a case for it, and have enough people to support it, that you don't have one lone politician crying out in the wilderness that we need something like that, but we have a swell of support of powerful personal peacemakers behind it who have a plan and can show the value of peacemaking through all of the community efforts that they have in place and all of the organizations that they've been supporting that have been spreading peace. In other words, we have to design the Department of Peace. We are the designers of the new age of peace, and it has to come from our hearts. It has to be pure. It has to have no semblance of self-interest. It has to be for the greater good, which is the golden rule. And I think we have to live from the golden rule into this. I believe we need to be set a big, big, big goal, and I think that is to establish a Department of Peace in the United States. That's what I believe.
Thank you, Jerry. I do get to Washington often, and I will be sure there is a Department of Peace. I'll stop by and see if we can train them. Thank you. Good idea. Okay, we're going to wrap it up with our closing circle, but first we have a few bonus gifts. So I have a peace process worksheet, and that will guide you through this 6-step peace process for use in your personal and professional life. So Barry, you put the link into the chat box, and you can copy and paste it into your browser. It's a bit.ly/peace worksheet. And then as another bonus, you can access the replay of this call on my website at drelainechristine.com to help open your mind and heart for world peace. So let's, for our closing circle, just bow our heads for a moment, and I'll say a little closing prayer. Thank you, God, for this time together and for those who are connected on this call. We are grateful for your goodness, God, and we ask for your grace, mercy, and love on our lives to help us create a healthy, prosperous, and peaceful world. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, everyone, for your participation and partnership in peace. Bye for now.
Bye.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Elaine.
Blessings,
you.
everyone.
Thank
Bye.
you. You
Love you
too.
all.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye for now.
Bye.
Peace out.
Peace.